The fitness club fell silent as Max Hawkins threw Johnson's membership card to the floor. "Get this old man out of my club," he snarled. Johnson stood motionless, his weathered face calm despite the billionaire's rage. The confrontation had just begun. The elite fitness and spa gleamed with polished chrome and glass, the exclusive playground for Boston's wealthiest. Membership cost more than most mortgages, ensuring the right crowd filled its halls. In the weight room corner, Sergeant Major Walter Johnson, 75, methodically completed his daily routine. His movements were precise, economy of motion honed through decades of military discipline. His faded USMC shirt contrasted with the designer athleisure surrounding him. Johnson visited twice weekly. Same schedule for 3 years, ever since his doctor warned about his heart. "Military men make the worst patients," she'd said. "You wait until something breaks." So he didn't wait. The club's regular members gave the quiet black veteran respectful distance, not from fear, but from an unspoken recognition of his dignified presence. Some nodded greetings. Johnson always nodded back. Across the room, young trainer Taylor struggled with a new member, a middle-aged woman intimidated by the equipment. Taylor's patience was evident, but his instructions weren't connecting. The woman grew frustrated, her confidence visibly fading. At 10:15, as predictable as artillery fire, the main doors swung open. Maxwell Hawkins III entered, flanked by 2 younger men in identical outfits, his associates. Hawkins owned not just his club, but half the waterfront properties in the city. His entrance always created ripples, staff straightening, members subtly repositioning themselves in his sightline. "Mr. Hawkins, welcome back." The manager materialized instantly. "Your private room is ready." Max barely acknowledged him, eyes scanning the room like a predator. He frowned at Taylor and the struggling woman. "Why is she on that machine? It's embarrassing." The manager paled. "I'll address it immediately." Max held up his hand. "I pay you to handle these situations before I arrive." His voice carried intentionally. "Standards, please." Johnson observed quietly, continuing his careful routine. Taylor heard Hawkins' comment and flushed with embarrassment. The trainer was good, certified, experienced, but new to elite fitness. The struggling woman whispered, "Maybe I should go." Johnson placed his weights down carefully. 3 decades teaching Special Forces recruits had given him an instinct for when instruction needed adjustment. He approached slowly, maintaining respectful distance. "Excuse me," Johnson addressed Taylor politely. "Mind if I make a suggestion?" Taylor looked up, startled but relieved. "Please, sir." Johnson turned to the woman. "Your body remembers more than your mind. Close your eyes, feel the movement." His voice was gentle but carried authority. "The machine doesn't control you. You control it." The woman tried again, eyes closed, her movement smoothed instantly. "There you go," Johnson nodded. "Military taught me. Intention before action." Across the room, Hawkins' eyes narrowed. He whispered to one associate, who snickered in response. The billionaire detached himself from his entourage, moving toward the impromptu lesson. "I wasn't aware we had volunteer staff now," Hawkins announced, voice dripping with false amusement, "especially one so seasoned." Johnson turned polite but unflinching. "Just offering a tip, sir." Hawkins looked him up and down, taking the faded USMC shirt and weather hands. "We have professional trainers for a reason. People pay premium rates here." "Taylor's doing fine work," Johnson replied evenly. "Just sharing experience." "And what experience would that be?" Hawkins smiled, didn't reach his eyes. "YMCA aerobics." Several members glanced away, uncomfortable. Taylor stood frozen between employer and member. "Military training, sir." Johnson answered simply. "Well, this isn't boot camp for..." Hawkins paused, the implication hanging. "Retirees. This is an elite establishment." Johnson nodded once. "Understood, sir." He turned to Taylor. "Carry on, young man. You're doing well." He returned to his station, resuming his routine with unbroken rhythm. Hawkins' jaw tightened as Johnson walked away. The dismissal, calm, respectful but unmistakable, left him seething. Nobody walked away from Maxwell Hawkins III. He doesn't seem to understand how things work here, Hawkins said loudly to the manager, who had reappeared at his side. What's his membership level? Standard senior membership, sir. Walter Johnson. Military veteran. Perfect payment record. Standard? Hawkins scoffed. And he's instructing members? The manager fidgeted. He wasn't really. Look at him. Hawkins cut in. What is he, 70? 80? Should he even be near this equipment? Johnson continued his workout, each movement deliberate. If he heard, he showed no reaction. And wearing that ratty military shirt, we have dress standards. Hawkins' voice rose intentionally. People come here for exclusivity. Several members looked uncomfortable. One woman gathered her things and quietly left. Hawkins approached the front desk, leaning in conspiratorially but speaking just loud enough. I've had complaints about him. Members feeling uncomfortable. The receptionist's eyes widened. Sir, these urban types intimidate our premium members. It's not personal, it's business. A member in line behind Hawkins inhaled sharply. He's been coming for years without incident. The receptionist whispered. An incident is exactly what I'm preventing. Hawkins straightened. Sometimes these people don't understand boundaries. Johnson had moved the cable machine. His routine never varied, methodical, precise. As he adjusted the weight, Hawkins approached again, associates trailing. The thing about military people, Hawkins announced loudly, is they never know when to retire, hanging on past their usefulness. Several phones emerged now, sensing conflict. Johnson paused, then resumed his exercise. You know, Hawkins continued, my father served too. Officer class, of course. Said his biggest challenge was managing the diversity recruits. The slur wasn't explicit, but unmistakable. Johnson completed his set, breathing evenly. Sir, Taylor interjected nervously. Mr. Johnson is actually helping our membership retention with. Did I ask for your input? Hawkins snapped. Know your place. The tension in the room had become unbearable. Hawkins stepped directly into Johnson's space. I think there's been a misunderstanding about membership appropriateness. Johnson faced him, straight back despite his years. No misunderstanding, sir. This is a premium establishment. Hawkins gestured widely. Perhaps the community center would be more suitable for your demographic. The implication hung heavy. Several gasps sounded around the room. My membership is paid through December, Johnson replied, voice steady. I'll complete my workout. Hawkins' face flushed. I own this place. I decide who stays. Johnson blinked once, slowly. Then you should review your contract terms, sir. Cancellation requires documented violations. The calm legal knowledge caught Hawkins off guard. His mouth opened, then closed. I haven't violated any policies, Johnson continued quietly. Unless existing while black and over 70 has become one. Phones were recording openly now. Hawkins realized his position weakening under potential social media exposure, but his ego prevented retreat. My club, my rules, he hissed. Johnson stood motionless, hands relaxed at his sides. The stance of a man who had faced far worse than an angry billionaire. I'll finish my workout, Johnson repeated, then leave as usual. No disrespect intended. The manager approached nervously. Mr. Hawkins, perhaps. Get his membership card. Hawkins snapped. Now. The manager hesitated, trapped between employer and legal liability. Sir, our bylaws specify. Now. Hawkins thundered. The room froze. Johnson reached slowly into his wallet and produced his membership card. He extended it, movements deliberate. The manager took it reluctantly. Check the system, Hawkins ordered. See if he's really paid up. While the manager tapped at the computer, Hawkins circled Johnson like a shark, performing for his audience. You know what I see? I see entitlement. People who think their past entitles them to special treatment. Johnson remained silent, standing at parade rest, hands clasped behind his back, feet shoulder-width apart, the posture of a soldier awaiting orders. He's paid through December, The manager confirmed quietly. Perfect record. Hawkins snatched the card. Let me see that. He examined it, then laughed coldly. Walter Johnson. Probably not even your real name. Johnson's expression remained unchanged. You think serving in somewhere 50 years ago gives you the right to disrupt my business? Hawkins continued. Wars were you what? Cooked meals? Drove trucks? A muscle twitched in Johnson's jaw. The first visible reaction. Sir, Taylor interjected. Mr. Johnson earned multiple. Silence. Hawkins roared, saliva spraying. You're fired. Clean out your locker. Taylor stepped back, stunned. Hawkins turned to his associates. Remove them both. When they hesitated, he gestured to security by the door. That's what we pay you for. The two security guards approached reluctantly, both looking deeply uncomfortable. Sir, one began respectfully to Johnson. I'm sorry about this. Hawkins slammed the membership card to the floor. Get this old man out of my club. Johnson looked at the card, then at the security guards. Young men trapped in an impossible situation. No need to risk your jobs, he told them quietly. Then to Hawkins, I'll need my identification back first. What identification? My military ID. It fell from my wallet with the membership card. Hawkins looked down, noticing a second card on the floor. He snatched it up impatiently, a military ID with the Department of Defense seal. He glanced at it dismissively, then froze. For the first time, uncertainty crossed his face. He studied the ID more carefully, eyes widening slightly. Problem, sir? Johnson asked quietly. Hawkins recovered quickly, but his tone had changed. This doesn't look real. Anyone can get fake military IDs these days. A man stepped forward from the rowing machines. He wore a veteran-owned business t-shirt and had been watching silently. That's not fake, he said firmly. That's a DOD ID with Special Forces insignia. Hawkins glared. Who asked you? Bobby Williams, sir. The man replied, addressing Johnson, not Hawkins. 101st Airborne, 2003 to 2011. It's an honor. He offered a respectful nod. Johnson returned it. Walter Johnson. Appreciate your service, son. Hawkins looked between them. Irritation mixing with emerging doubt. Military buddies sticking together. How touching. Williams took a step closer. That's not just any Green Beret standing there, Mr. Hawkins. The room had grown deathly quiet. That's Command Sergeant Major Walter Johnson, 5th Special Forces Group. His team extracted high-value targets when others couldn't. 3 silver stars. Multiple Purple Hearts. Hawkins swallowed, his atoms apple-bobbing visibly. I don't care if he's General Patton. This is my club. Johnson extended his hand calmly. My ID, please. Hawkins hesitated, then held the card out of reach. Still doesn't change anything. Rules are rules. What rules exactly? Williams pushed. The unspoken ones about who belongs here? Phones continued recording. The potential PR disaster was expanding by the second. Hawkins turned to security again. Do your jobs. But his voice had lost his conviction. Johnson remained impassive, hands still extended. My identification, Mr. Hawkins. Military IDs are federal property. Oh, right. Hawkins sneered, recovering his bluster. The big hero, probably embellishing like most of them. A security guard whispered urgently. Sir, I Googled him. He's the real deal. Command Sergeant Major Johnson is legendary. There's a documentary about his team's missions. Hawkins blinked rapidly. Well, he's still violating. He's not violating anything, Williams interrupted. He's the man who led the operation that rescued the CEO of Northeastern Telecom in '82. Recognition dawned on Hawkins' face. Northeastern Telecom had been his father's company before the merger. That hostage situation? Hawkins asked, voice suddenly smaller. Johnson remained silent, his expression unchanged. Williams nodded. 8 hostages, heavily armed captors, impossible terrain. Johnson's team got everyone out alive. Your father included, I believe. The room collectively inhaled. Hawkins stared at Johnson, seeing him truly for the first time. The weathered face, the dignified posture, the calm eyes that had seen things Hawkins couldn't imagine. "You," Hawkins started, then stopped. "You were there?" "Just doing my job, sir," Johnson replied evenly, like Taylor was doing his before you fired him. "My ID, please." Hawkins' hand trembled slightly as he extended the card. Hawkins wasn't finished yet. Humiliation turned to desperate anger. "ID or not, you disrespected me in my establishment." His voice rose again, less confident but more dangerous. "Nobody does that." Johnson tucked his ID away carefully. "No disrespect was intended, Mr. Hawkins." "Mr. Hawkins?" Hawkins mocked. "Not sir anymore? Showing your true colors now." Johnson's calm seemed to further enrage Hawkins. "I built this place for people like me," Hawkins hissed, stepping closer. "Not government charity cases trading on old war stories." Johnson remained still. "I pay my membership like everyone else." "Some things can't be bought," Hawkins retorted, voice low and venomous. "Some places, some people, will never accept you, no matter what medals they pin on you." The naked bigotry silenced the room. Even Hawkins' associates looked uncomfortable. "You've made your position clear," Johnson replied. "I'll gather my belongings." Hawkins stepped into his path. "Maybe I should make an example first. Show what happens to people who don't know their place." Johnson assessed him calmly, a threat evaluation ingrained by decades of combat experience. "That would be unwise, Mr. Hawkins," he said softly. "Step aside, please." "Or what, old man?" Hawkins sneered. "You'll call in an airstrike?" Hawkins shoved Johnson's shoulder hard. The elderly veteran rocked back slightly but remained upright, his balance perfect. The room gasped. Phone cameras zoomed in. Johnson looked at the hand on his shoulder, then into Hawkins' eyes. "Remove your hand, sir." Hawkins pushed again, harder. "Make me soldier boy." What happened next occurred so quickly that phone videos had to be slowed down later for viewers to understand. Johnson's weathered hand moved in precise arc, grasping Hawkins' wrist with textbook joint manipulation. A slight pivot of Johnson's hips, a subtle weight transfer, and Hawkins found himself suddenly off balance, his arm extended in a controlled position that sent shooting pain through his shoulder. Johnson applied minimal pressure, just enough to establish control. No aggression, just flawless technique. "Ag!" Hawkins yelped, his knees buckling slightly. "Easy now," Johnson said quietly. "I'm not hurting you, just helping you reconsider." Williams stepped forward. That's the same move he used to disarm a terrorist, holding the U.S. ambassador in '85. Textbook Special Forces control technique. Johnson released Hawkins gently, steadying him as he did. The billionaire stumbled back, clutching his wrist, face contorted with shock and humiliation. "You assaulted me." Hawkins spluttered. "I'll sue you for everything." Williams held up his phone. "After you push him twice? With 30 witnesses and a dozen videos?" "I don't think so." Johnson straightened his shirt. "No harm done," he said calmly. "Sometimes we all need a moment to reconsider our choices." The room stared in collective awe at the elderly black veteran who'd neutralized the threat with surgical precision and remarkable restraint. Hawkins stood trembling, reputation in tatters. His associates kept their distance, suddenly fascinated by their shoes. "You're finished in this town," Hawkins hissed, but the threat sounded hollow even to him. Johnson resumed gathering his belongings, movements unhurried. The club manager approached cautiously. "Mr. Johnson, sir, your membership remains valid, of course." This was all a misunderstanding. Johnson nodded once. "Appreciate that." Taylor stepped forward. "Am I still fired?" The manager glanced at Hawkins, then straightened his spine. "No, definitely not." Hawkins' face contorted, but he said nothing. As Johnson prepared to leave, members approached one by one, some offering handshakes, others simply nodding respect. Williams stood at attention as Johnson passed, a soldier's acknowledgement of senior rank. "Command Sergeant Major," Williams said quietly. "My father served under Colonel Reynolds in the 5th. Said you were the finest soldier he ever met." Johnson paused. "Reynolds was a good man." "They all were." Hawkins watched from the corner, isolated in a room full of people. His phone buzzed incessantly. Videos were already circulating. Johnson approached Taylor. "You have good instincts, son. Keep developing them." "Thank you, sir. Maybe you could show me some of those techniques sometime." Johnson smiled slightly. "Next Tuesday, 0900 hours. Don't be late." Johnson left the club without fanfare, the same as he'd entered for 3 years. Behind him, changes had already begun. The manager was implementing a new respect policy. Hawkins had retreated to his office, lawyers on speakerphone. What remained wasn't just a memory of perfect technique, but a lesson embodied in Johnson's response: measured, controlled, precise. No unnecessary force, no ego, just effective resolution. In a culture that glorifies excess, Johnson demonstrated the power of restraint. In a world that judges by appearance, he proved that true strength runs deeper than surface perceptions. Dignity, as he had shown, cannot be given or taken, only demonstrated. Respect isn't about age, race, or status. It's about character. Veterans like Command Sergeant Major Johnson served with honor, often facing discrimination despite their sacrifice. How do you show respect to the veterans in your community? Comment below with your thoughts. Subscribe for more stories of extraordinary individuals who change perspectives through quiet strength rather than loud proclamation.